In a small town nestled between rolling green hills and a silver blue river, there lived a young girl named Cara Bennet. Clara was 10 years old, with bright, curious eyes and a heart that felt bigger than the sky. She lived with her father in a narrow brick house at the edge of town, where the cobblestone streets gave way to tall grass and wildflowers.
What a beautiful day! The world is so big.
Clara loved mornings more than anything. While most of the town still slept behind closed curtains, she would rise with the sun and climb the gentle hill behind her house. From there, she could watch the golden mites spill across the rooftops, turning chimneys and church steeples into glowing towers. In those quiet moments, Clara felt as if she were carrying the morning on her shoulders, as though it were her special job to welcome the day. Clara's father worked long hours repairing shoes in his tiny shop on Main Street. Since Clara's mother had passed away years before, it had always been just the two of them. Though they did not have much, they had enough. Enough bread on the table, enough warmth in winter, and more than enough love. Yet Clara carried a secret worry. She often felt small in a world that seemed built for grown-ups. The mayor made decisions, the teachers had answers, the shopkeepers knew exactly what they were doing. Clara sometimes wondered what she could possibly offer. She was just a child with scuffed shoes and ink-stained fingers. One autumn morning, as she climbed her favorite hill, she found something unexpected waiting near the tall oak tree at the top. Curled in the grass was a small fox with russet fur and a white-tipped tail. Its leg was caught in a loop of old wire left behind by someone careless. The fox's bright eyes were filled not with anger, but with fear. Clara's heart thudded in her chest. She had never been this close to a wild animal before. For a moment, she considered running back home for help. Surely an adult would know what to do. Surely someone bigger and braver could handle it better. But the fox's sides rose and fell quickly, and the morning felt as fragile as glass. Clara realized that if she left, the fox would remain alone in its fear. Slowly, carefully, Clara knelt in the grass. She whispered soft, steady words, not because the fox could understand them, but because speaking gently helped calm her own racing heart. With trembling fingers, she examined the wire. It was twisted tight, biting into the fox's leg. Clara remembered the small folding tool her father kept in her backpack for whittling sticks by the river. She took it out, her hands shaking. She had never done something so important on her own before. The world felt very big, and she felt very small. But small did not mean powerless. Carefully, she worked the tool between the loops of wire. The fox flinched but did not snap. Clara's breath came in steady pulls as she focused on one simple task: loosen the wire, help the fox, stay calm. Minutes felt like hours, but at last the wire gave way. It sprang open, and the fox pulled its leg free. For a heartbeat, the two of them simply stared at one another. Then the fox rose shakily, tested its leg, and bounded a few steps away. It paused at the edge of the hill and looked back at Clara before disappearing into the trees. Clara remained kneeling in the grass, the broken wire at her feet. The sun had risen fully now, bathing everything in gold. She did not feel small anymore. She felt steady. Word of the fox spread quickly. A neighbor had seen Clara on the hill and told others. By afternoon, people were stopping by her father's shop to mention her bravery. Clara listened quietly as grown-ups praised her. She felt her cheeks warm, but inside she understood something deeper than praise. She had not waited for someone older, she had not turned away, she had acted. In the days that followed, Clara began to notice other things around town that needed tending. The community garden near the school was overrun with weeds. The paint on the park benches had peeled away. Mrs. Alder, who lived alone near the river, struggled to carry firewood to her door. Before, she might have thought these were problems for someone else. Now she saw them differently. She began with small steps. She spent an afternoon pulling weeds in the garden. She gathered a few friends to help repaint the benches in cheerful shades of blue and yellow. She carried kindling to Mrs. Alder's porch after school. At first, it seemed like nothing more than tiny ripples in a wide pond, but ripples travel farther than anyone expects. The garden began to bloom brighter than it had in years. The benches became favorite resting spots once more. Mrs. Alder started baking bread again and sharing warm loaves with neighbors in gratitude. Clara noticed something else, too. Other children began rising earlier. They joined her on the hill some mornings, watching the sunrise in comfortable silence. The hill became a place where ideas were born, ideas for book drives, for cleanup days, for helping hands where they were needed most. Clara never stood at the front giving orders. She didn't need to. She simply did the next kind thing, the next brave thing, however small it seemed, and others followed. One winter evening, as snow drifted gently from the sky, Clara and her father walked home beneath the glow of lamplight. The town looked different now, not because the buildings had changed, but because the people had. There was a new warmth in the air, a sense that everyone carried a small piece of responsibility for everyone else. At the edge of town, near the familiar hill, Clara spotted a flash of russet fur among the snowy trees. The fox stood at a distance, healthy and strong. For a brief moment, their eyes met again. The fox dipped its head before vanishing into the white forest. Clara felt a quiet understanding settle in her heart. Courage did not always roar. Sometimes it knelt in the grass with shaking hands. Kindness did not require permission. Sometimes it simply began. As years passed, Clara grew taller. Her steps became surer. Yet she never forgot the morning she chose to stay instead of run. Whenever she felt doubt creeping in, whenever the world seemed too large and she felt too small, she returned to the hill at sunrise. From there, she would watch the light spill across the rooftops, just as it had when she was 10 years old. She would remember that even the sun begins as a thin line on the horizon, barely noticeable at first, before rising to brighten everything it touches. And she would carry the morning once more, knowing that no heart is too small to lift a little piece of the world.
Ready for our adventure, little one?
Yes, let's go!
Hold on tight.